find in this week's Parsha, Perek Lamed Vav, Pasuk Vav, Vayitzav Moshe, Vayaviru kol b'machane le'mor, ish v'isha, al yasu od melacha l'trumat hakodesh, Vayikale ha'am mehavi. The Gemara in Shabbat learns from here the Isur Malacha of carrying on Shabbat. And what's startling is that the Tosfot in Melechet Shabbat says that it seems to be that this is the one Malacha that is not brought down in Har Sinai. And the question is, why is that true? Many Rishonim explain that this is the reason why the Malacha of Hotzah is brought down at the beginning of Melechet Shabbat. Not only, as some Rishonim explain, because there's so many different halachot within Hotzah, of Akira, Hanacha, all the different Rishuyot. However, the Baalei HaTosfot bring down because it's a Malacha Gruahi. And the Tosfos HaRosh explains it also. What does it mean that it's a Malacha Gruahi? It's a very weak Malacha, weak Malacha, because there's no change in the chayfetz, in the object. If I carry this object all the time for 20 minutes in the Reshut Yachid, it's the same, there's no problem. But all of a sudden, I carry it from the Reshut Yachid to the Reshut Rabim, I pass over that domain, and now it's a Malacha. This is the language of the Tosfot Rosh. It's a Malacha Gruahi. She'ilu ayan nosei chefetz gadol kol hayom Reshut Yachid, lo mechayev, v'ilu hotzi kegrogret, a small date from Reshut Yachid to Reshut Rabim chayav, even though it seems to be no change. Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky explains a little bit differently. And he says that it's possible that why the other Rishonim would explain that it's not a Malacha Grua, and really there might be actually a Chidush in changing when you're taking an object from Reshut Yachid to Reshut Rabim. And he explains it based on that we know that Shabbat was given in Marah. And the idea explains why was Shabbat and a couple other mitzvot given in Marah. He says, because we know you had the eights, and it was a bitter eights, and what happened? By touching with the water, it changed its nature and became sweet. And it teaches us that Hashem changes nature. And this is the whole concept of the Melechot of Maaseh Breshit. The idea that Hashem says it's Asur Du Malacha, anyone that has a creative nature of creation, Zoreah, Kotzer, when you're planting, when you're all these things are changing of nature. And seemingly that was the problem with Hotzah. Says Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, that's why now, by the Mishkan, it teaches us Hotzah. Because by the Melechet HaMishkan, Hashem teaches us that seemingly how we understand nature, the transcendent God cannot be in this temporal world, in this finite world. But Hashem says, you don't understand what Makom is. V'asuli mikdash v'shachati b'tocham. I will be there, and you will, and this is in itself, it's a different place. It's a different Kedusha, it's a different Makom. So what appears to be in the eyes, just as for us when we have fire, you have to have oil and you can't have vinegar. But Hashem says, no, you put vinegar and you'll be able. I will tell you that I'm going to change nature. So too, in the place, even though to the naked eye, when I carry one object from Reshut Yachid to Reshut Rabim, it's the exact same object. It's possible that the Rishonim say that when I go from one place to another, just as in the Mikdash, it was a different place now that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I can be there, and somehow mitzamtzein myself within the Mishkan, so too, when you go from one place to another, the actual object changes. And how important is this to us, this message of going from place to place, knowing that we could change, things that we carry, things that we are, have that same Hotzah. The Gemara talks about that when we go from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. The same exact person. Now all of a sudden we become a different Hotzah. Me'ezrat Hashem, in our Shmirat Shabbat, we should be able, not only the Hotzah should be different by what we're carrying or not carrying, but rather how we have Yelachem Kodesh. Not even the day is Kodesh, but as the Netziv explains, that we, in our observance of the Melachot, should not just get caught up in the small details which are important, but Kasher Tziva Hashem et Moshe, that we ourselves will become that new Hotzah. Shabbat Shalom.